The vast and majestic Alps at dusk, snow-capped peaks glistening in the light of the slowly setting sun. As the sun disappears, night begins to envelop. The Alps, a place that captivates with its beauty, challenging peaks, always attracting brave adventurers. However, behind the tranquility offered by the snowland, this is not just a journey to the top. It is a journey into inevitable darkness, a journey full of hope, but ending in eternal silence. Their tracks are lost among the Christophe, the leader. He is an experienced climber, having conquered many peaks before. Beside him, there is Marie, his loyal climbing partner, Jack the Brave, Sophie They didn't realize that the night wasn't just a fog that shrouded their journey. There was something more, something that couldn't be seen with the naked eye. Marie, who was walking behind, Marie heard footsteps, but it wasn't coming from them. Every time she looked back, all she saw was a blur in the mist, but the sound kept following them. The snowstorm was getting worse. The fog was getting thicker. They set up camp, hoping that morning would bring better weather. Sophie, who was on night watch, saw something in the distance. Among them,
Sophie was stunned, her eyes wide as she stared at the faint black figure in the distance. The shadow did not move, just standing still in the middle of the storm. Sophie woke Christophe, but when she showed him his own, they tried to ignore it. Maybe it was just a shadow or a hallucination caused by exhaustion. But the shadow returned and came closer. The sound of footsteps outside the tent began to be heard. The sound of Jack, who was in a separate tent, suddenly disappeared without a trace. Thick snow covered his footprints. The remaining climbing team began to panic. They looked for Jack, calling his name, but only found.
When Jack disappears, they begin to understand that this is not just an ordinary storm. There is something lurking behind them, something that cannot be explained.
The remaining climbers struggle to survive. Emile, the youngest, begins to panic. He claims to have seen Jack, but not as they remember him. The figure he saw did not walk as he had.
Emile was shaking with fear. He was sure he had seen Jack, but the figure was no longer his friend. He was no longer human. They now knew they were not alone on this mountain. The shadow Sophie had seen.
When morning comes, the storm has subsided, but Marie and Sophie are gone too. Only Christophe and Emile are left. They are desperate, disoriented, and feel like they are being watched. A voice calls out to Christophe from.
Christophe knew that what was calling him from the mist was not his friend. The voice carried a deep fear. Now they had only one choice: to run.
They ran down the mountain, but the path they should have known kept changing. They were lost, chased by something they couldn't fully see. Eventually, Christophe gave up. The rescue team found Emile sitting trembling under a tree, alone. His friend's tracks had disappeared without a trace. The Alps looked calm, but there was a strange feeling lingering in the air.
Emile couldn't explain what happened. Their trail was lost in the snow and fog, along with the secrets buried in the Alps. For those who climb to the top, there is always a warning.